It's the morning, it's Friday, I'm still in my pyjamas, it's Tea Time Friday. So today I want to talk about three things. This one really is for you Year 11 people, you Year 11 students out there, or anyone that's sitting in an exam, because I'm going to talk about things that very directly are related to you. So the power of listening, and I want to talk about the power, it's a lot of power today, it's a power day, the power of listening, the power of can't, and the power of stress. Let's get into it.
What am I talking about today? What's this?
Right, I'm going to put this coffee down. It's coffee today, vanilla coffee. I'm not very good at this. This mug is getting incredibly hot. It's ridiculous. It's not. It was obviously a cheapy mug that doesn't protect you very well for when you've got hot beverages, which seems strange for a mug. Anyway, right, let's get into it. I've got a lot of students. I've got a few of them that are doing Year 11s. I've got some 11 plus, some midway through, some A-level. There's a good mix going on in there. But I have a definite section of students where I think when I'm talking to them, it's like it's going in one ear and it's coming out the other ear. There doesn't seem to be much interaction. I get nothing from them. But I got the most beautiful text from a parent this week saying that it might not seem like their son is listening, but actually when they came back from their first exam, they did to the letter, I couldn't be prouder, all of the advice that I gave them. And what's better still, they're feeling much better, much more confident about the future exams, which is exactly what I want students to think, right? I want you guys to feel confident, happy, ready to take on the world, not like, oh, woe is me, these exams, blah, 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 right? So it was really nice to hear that this student had really listened. Now this kind of goes back to last week, the week before, maybe the week before that, I can't remember. Right, there was a week I was talking about talking the talk and not walking the walk. Lots of students will, when you're talking to them, they'll say all the right things, but they won't implement any of it. So even though they appear to be listening, they're not listening. Whereas these students are saying nothing, they're mute, so I can't read them, but they are actually listening. Even though a lesson is uncomfortable if a student gives you nothing back, I would much prefer a student to keep their mouth shut and listen and take on board and implement than tell me what they think I want to hear and then not do any of it, right? Because ultimately, the one that listens and implements gets somewhere, and the one that listens but doesn't implement and just chats and makes the sounds like they're listening properly, but they're not really hearing what I'm saying, they don't get anywhere. So bravo to all you silent listeners out there, the ones that have been paying attention to your teachers and your lecturers and your tutors and your study coaches all year. Rock on, very proud of you guys. Now, the power of can't. Days. This is so distressing. I find it very distressing. It doesn't happen very often, I'll be honest. Usually I can crack it pretty quickly. But I have some students that persistently tell themselves for every question that they can't do, I can't do this. It's for every question, right? I had a girl do it once, and her go-to, she was young, so her go-to phrase was poo. So, oh, poo, oh, poo, I can't do this, oh, poo, I can't do that. This student's, another student I have is older, and they just go, I can't do this, it's too hard, just can't do it, it's too hard, I can't do it. Oh, I'm no good at this subject, right? You can't do that, right? Especially if you have exams at the moment. People, you need to understand the power of this word, can't. It is crippling. It is all encompassing and it will kill your grade. That's right, it will kill your grade. Kill it. absolutely kill it to the ground, right? If you were expecting 7s, there will be 6s and 5s. If you're expecting 5s, there will be 3s and 2s. If you were expecting 3s and 2s, there will be unqualified. Right? Don't do it to yourselves, right? You never go into an exam or any question, a homework piece, a revision piece, an exam piece, starting with the word can't, right? If you really feel that you can't break the habit of saying can't, rephrase it. Can't do this yet. Let me come back to it, right? Just by adding the word yet, it changes everything. That implies that your ability to not do it isn't finite. It's not set in stone, right? You just need to think about it a little bit and then come back to it, right? You're going to give it another go. But the second you go a hard can't, that's it. It's over for this question. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to play with it a little bit. I'm just going to down tools, right? The proverbial pencil drop. We've talked about this before. Don't do it, people. Don't do it. Not in exam season. Don't do it ever, right? If you're not in exams, don't do it ever. Especially don't do it in exam seasons. Right, is it hot? I really want to drink the coffee. The power of stress. Now, this is a good one because I have had almost every single student say to me this week, I'm not stressed actually. It's been all right. I'm not stressed. I'm not freaking out. I don't buy that, right? I've been here before. This is not my first rodeo, people. It's drinkable now. It's drinkable. This is not my first rodeo, so I can recognise stress a mile off. Trying to kid yourself that you're not stressed is more stressful, right? So if you are stressed, you need to just let that out there. Let that into the ether. Tell everyone that you're stressed. The more you say stuff, the more it disappears, right? And then you can actively work to get rid of your stress. Now, this is how I test whether people are stressed. Vanilla coffee is so good. I give them a question that I know that they can answer, but it's a little bit tricksy, just a little bit tricksy. And I see how long it takes for them to do it. Every single student this week could not answer my stress question. Every single one. Every single one went down another road. And every single one, the second I took the paper away from them and started writing out what you would do, before I'd even finished writing out the same thing that they'd written out, they just went, oh, it's this, right? So the second they've taken away the pressure of doing the question, they've suddenly got the space in their heads to solve the question. That's the power of stress. So what stress does is it takes an able brain and turns it into an unable brain. So it takes questions that you can do, that you know and you're comfortable with, and turns them into impossible questions. And obviously, when it's exams, we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. We can't let stress cripple us. If you're stressed, people, acknowledge it. Do something about it. Jump up and down. I'm preference to dancing in my underwear really loudly, really shaking it out. Do something fun. The exam period, it is really difficult to do anything other than revise. You feel such pressure to revise, but it's so important to keep your head level, right? You need to have a little downtime, right? You need to. It's important, right? Do something physical. Get away from your desk. Get away from your phone. Don't talk about exams. Don't even acknowledge that they're happening. Go and do something fun instead. Okay, well, it's the stressful time for me. It's a whole month of stress for me, but I'm acknowledging that I'm stressed, so I'm handling it, right? I think my stress is compounded because I have multiple students, and so I feel all of their stress on top of me. But I know you guys, you can handle it, right? I'll see you next week for another Tea Time Friday or Coffee Time Friday. And remember, as always, study like a boss.